Hello, everybody. This is Velvel, and I am here. Um, how are you today? I'm doing good. This is Velvel Reads Stories with Velvel. Reading with Velvel. Boom. Perfect. We figured out the name. That's done. Okay. So, how are you guys doing? I'm doing good. This video was supposed to come out on was supposed to come out on Friday, but it didn't, and it might not come out today. But it will um, most likely come out on Sunday for sure. Um, the rest of the story is going to be coming out on Halloween Day, and if my schedule allows it, a little short horror story will be also coming out on that day too. So you might get two for one on Saturday. You might get a video today on Saturday. So I don't know. You'll that will be past tense, so you already know there's a video out. That's beside the point. Um, these show these this reading with the Vilvel is just basically you sit back and you relax and you pour yourself a bubble bath or get yourself a nice hot cup of tea and you just relax and listen to my voice. Unwind. So start unwinding. So, so this is a story. Um, Vampire Hot Spring by Velvel, and here we go. There is a mountain shrouded in mystery. Only one knows all the different stories that revolve around this mountain called Drigdrag. I am that person. If you come into my shop, I will tell you one story, and you can have a cup of tea, but the second one will cost you. Anyhow, so you wish to know a story, maybe one that involves you? Well, this story is from a long time ago, in a little farming village that rested at the base of the great mountain Drigdrag. The village was named after the great mountain that was shrouded in mystery. The village was made up of a small church, a bakery, a treasure shop, a blacksmith, and a few cottages. There was a boy that lived in this village. He was a very brave boy, always taking everything head on, no matter what. He often got in trouble because of it. The young boy's name was Garand. He was 14 years of age, but I guess that doesn't qualify him to be called a young boy now, does it? But considering how old I am, he is nothing but a boy. Well, one day, him and some other boys in the village were gathered by the creek near the village, skipping rocks and talking about what they have been up to. Now that they are old enough to hold a hoe properly, they must work in the fields. All except for Garand. He had a good hand in blacksmithing, so he became the empress of the unique blacksmith of the village. He was always getting in different kinds of trouble, so the boy had to work a lot, but it was his father, so it couldn't be helped. Anyways, the boys were talking as Garen was staring into the distance, thinking. His close friend Robert shook him by the shoulder and said, "Oi, what are you gawking at, stupid?" Garen then was snapped out of his daydream and looked at his friend and back to what he was looking at and pointed at the mountain Drigdrag and said, "I wonder how many stories and events have happened because of that mountain." "I don't know. I work for a living. I don't got time to be thinking about that old mountain," said Robert. One of the other boys shouted out, "That lady from the treasury shop says that she knows every story there is to know about that mountain, and she'll tell you one if you go get a cup of tea for free. Good price, yeah?" "Well, did you get one?" asked Aaron. "Oh, did I ever," said the boy. "Well, tell us what it is," exclaimed Robert. The other boy looked at Garen and Robert and smiled. Garen never liked waiting, so he stood up from where he was sitting and said, "Well, get on with it already." He looked at the boy with a scared look. "Okay, okay, I will," said the other boy in a frightened tone. The boy got his composure and started to say, this lady from the lady said that somewhere in the mountain there is a hot spring, and if you go there at night on a full moon, you can see a beautiful woman bathing in the hot spring." "Okay, okay, I will," the other boy said in a frightened tone. The boy got his composure and started to say, the lady said that somewhere in the mountain there's a hot spring, and if you go there at night on a full moon, you can see a beautiful woman bathing in the hot spring." "Yeah, right, no way. There is a hot spring, let alone a beautiful woman bathing in it. And why only on a full moon?" "What, the lady don't take baths unless it's on a full moon? She must be a stinky broad," said Robert in a mocking tone. "Well, they ain't all of it, you know," said the boy, as he looked at both of them and smiled. Garen, who was sat back down playing with his knife, now looked up and said in a calm tone, "Get on with it." The other boy swallowed his saliva in his throat and said, "You really do know how to mess with people, don't you?" He sat down and said, "Well, there's more to it. The story," I asked. "Why only then?" And the lady said because it's nice at that time. And she said that there is more to it than you think. But she said I couldn't get any more into the story unless I buy the other cup of tea. "And what?" asked Garen. "Well, I didn't have enough money, so I didn't buy any," said the boy. "Well, you're truly pathetic, ain't you?" said Robert. "But I think that she's a ghost or something like that. She'd probably kill you if she did find her," said the boy, who had told them the story. Garen then stood up and said, "Well, if there is a full moon, then I'll go out and look for that hot spring and see if it's real." "Are you crazy? What if she sees you?" "What will you do then, brave guy?" said Robert. "What do you mean, buddy?" said Garen, as he patted him on the shoulder and finished saying, "You don't believe in this. You don't believe this stupid guy over here is right, do you? I thought you didn't believe in ghosts or stories like this. So I should be fine," Garen said, with a look like he couldn't hurt a fly. Robert often called this his convincing magic. "Do as you wish. It's not like I'm going to stop you. So stop looking at me like that already," said Robert. "Yes, well, I see. Well, yes. Well, I have a feeling that there'll be a full moon in 6 days," said Garen. "Well, if track record is like normal, then there should be," said Robert. "You know it," said Garen as he slapped Robert on the back. It's it is time for me to get going. See you later, ladies," Garen said playfully as he climbed the hill to the path back to the village. As he walked to the village, he noticed a man in a cloak that had pointy ears like a bat at the edge of the forest. As Garen walked into the village, he noticed the treasury shop, and the lady that owned it was watering the flowers in front of it. He said to the lady, "Hey, it's getting late. You should be heading home soon. It's not safe for a pretty young lady like you to be walking home so late." "A young lady? I'm much too old to be calling that. You're such a sweet young boy," said the shopkeeper. "Hey, I'm not a boy. I'm a man, damn it," Garen said in a demanding tone and walked up to the lady face to face. He is taller than her. She looked up so that he could see her face and said, "Prove it, big man." Garen blushed and he looked down. Before he could say anything, the lady said, after she giggled, "Oh my, you're still so young. It's so funny." She patted him on the shoulder and said, "Well, get home already. I'll be going too." "Yeah, I do gotta get going. See you later," Garen said as he walked away. "Okay, be safe now, you little troublemaker. And come by my shop and have some tea and I'll tell you a story," she said as she waved him off. "I might take you up on that, lady," he said as he waved back. The sun was setting already. No one was ever out at this time. If they were at Billy's house to drink some mead at a pretty cheap price. He sometimes went there to get some when he wanted to get a little wild and act like a grown-up. But but he passed, so he went by the shop on his way home to make sure nothing had happened to it on his dad's watch. As he went there, he ran into the town priest. "Hey there, father. How's it going?" said Garen as he waved to the priest. "I'm doing well, thanks for asking." "How are you this fine evening?" said the priest as he waved back at him. "I'm doing good at the moment. Just going to check up on the shop before heading home," said Garrett. "Oh, is your day off?" asked the priest. "Yep, my dad was watching the place for me while I was resting today." He said with a smile. "You were just like your grandpa, you know that?" said the priest as he placed his hand on his shoulder. "What do you mean, father?" "He was always doing his best, protecting everyone he could. You look just like him," the priest said as he lifted his hand off his shoulder. "Thanks for the compliment, father. Well, I got to get going now," he said as he started to walk away. "Okay, have a good one. Be careful. It is dangerous at night," he said as Garen walked away. "I'm always careful, father. I'll be careful. Don't worry about it, okay?" he said as he waved, not looking back. "Have a nice time drinking, you old drunk," Garen whispered under his breath as he walked up to the shop. He noticed nothing different about it, and everything was fine. "Well, that old man did close it down properly, so I can go home now," he said as he said aloud as he breathed out and started walking away. "I think I'll take the long way home," he said. The boy often talked aloud to no one, I guess, because how no one was around when he was a kid to talk to. As he started to walk down a little dirt path that led out to the outskirts of the village that went by a big river that no one would ever swim across, due to the fact that it was running far too fast and harsh. But when he was a boy, only 8 years old, he swam across the river because he said he could. He often walked by the river on the way home. The other reason no one would ever cross the river was because the other side of the river was the forest of the great mountain Drigdrag. Everyone was scared of the mountain because of all the rumors that came from it and the missing people that were reported to be going up to the mountain. Well, there is a very good story I could tell you about a beautiful town in the mountain of sprites. But I'm getting off topic. Okay, so as Garen was walking down the path by the river, he noticed a girl on the hood on the other side of the river. He was shocked by it. "Hey, what are you doing on that side of the river? How did you get over there?" He yelled out to the girl. He yelled out. The girl didn't say a word. She just got up and walked up the mountain and out of sight. "Well, that was weird," he said. I better get home quickly before my dad chokes on his vomit," he said to get the girl out of his head. When he got to his house, he noticed that his dad was passed out before he even got in the door. "Well, you're useless, aren't you?" he said as he kicked his dad. "Well, it can't be helped," he said as he opened the door and then picked up his dad and carried him to his bed and covered him up and walked to the front door again. As he took a swig of the mead that his dad had left on the front door, "It is not a full moon, but I guess I can go out and look for that hot spring," he said. As he looked up the sky, he took another swig and put down the bottle and went to his room. He grabbed his bag and knife and went out to the river. "Well, I guess I can't go swimming through that river at this time of night. I'll get sick," he said, as he scratched his head and kept walking down the path. When the path started to turn away from the river, he said, "I'm going to have to make my own path now, from here on out." As he walked through the brush, he came across a large tree that had fallen over perfectly over the river, like it was supposed to be there. "Wow, what luck! Maybe I'll find the hot spring tonight," he said as he hopped on the tree and started to walk across the nature-made bridge. When he crossed the tree, he walked into the woods and up the hill through the trees that went up so high in the night sky. Under all the trees it was very dark, darker than anything you could think of. It was like walking through a black dream. As Garen walked through the woods, ascending up the mountain Drigdrag, he felt uneasy. He felt as if someone was watching him, or something. He didn't understand why. He couldn't shake the feeling of it. It ate at him slowly digging into his nerves, getting into his mind. He was never fearful until now. He kept telling himself as he walked up the mountain, "Okay, nothing is there. I'm fine. If it bleeds, it can be killed. So I am okay." And then something was said, or was it said? Did he think it? These next words, or were they put into his head by a witch? "What if it can't bleed?" He stopped in his tracks. What if, what if, what if? He thought to himself. Then a crack of a twig came from ahead of him. He ran as fast as he could, so fast that he didn't know where he was going, as long as it was out of those woods. He ran, he fell down the mountain, slid and skid his way down the hills until he fell out of the woods into the river. He was at the edge of the river, so it was not deep, but he looked around, now snapped out of whatever kind of trance he was in. "Wow, I was being a little baby, wasn't I? Good thing Robert didn't see. He would never let me live it down," he said as he got up and walked out of the river and looked down. Well, the path is on the other side of the river. He didn't see that big tree anywhere. Then he said aloud, trying to pump himself up, "Okay, it's time I swim that river." He ran to the river and jumped in. He swam as fast as he could, not so much because it was hard to swim for him, but to at least get a river between him and that forest of Drigdrag. As he got to the other side of the river, he looked back at the woods that he just came from and said, "I'll be back tomorrow, you got that?" He turned around and looked up at the sky and said, "It's already sunrise. I need to get going. I need to get going to the shop right now, I guess. I'm working in wet clothes." He let out a laugh as he started to run towards the village. He got to the shop and started his normal routine. Start the furnace and get the doors open. He had dried up quickly as the furnace got hotter, but soon got just as wet as before, but because he sweated himself wet. Since he and his father were the only ones that knew how to blacksmith in the village, the shop was very busy. And also, since his dad is a drunk, he has to work a lot. That and he's a lot better than his dad at blacksmithing. And everyone goes on his days to work instead of his dad's days. He doesn't mind due to the fact that his mother is very ill and he has to pay for someone to take care of her. Well, because of his little adventure last night, he was really tired this day and had not been on his right mind because he got so scared. He didn't know why. He was thinking of what he had happened and where that hot spring was. But Robert came into the shop saying, "Oi, what are you doing, you lazy son?" "Lazy? What are you yapping about? I'm the one working here, not you," he said as he walked up to the front of the shop. "What are you talking about? I'm working. I need you to fix this here hoe, and I need 5 more, please," he said as he placed the broken hoe on the table. "Why do you still have that damn old hoe for? I'm not going to fix it. You're going to have to buy 6 new ones," Garen said in a firm tone. "Fine, I'll pay for the same as 6 new ones if you fix this one," he said in a nonchalant tone. "Why do you want this one so much?" Garen said. "Because it's my first hoe, and the first one our best village blacksmith made," Robert said, with a smile. "Oh, yeah, that's right, I remember. Well, I'll fix it for free, consider it a gift for using such a shitty tool," he said as he grabbed it. "Okay, thanks, buddy. Half now, half later, okay with you?" Robert said as he put a bag of coins on the counter. "What are you talking about? It's all now or nothing." "I know how you are," Garen said in a joking tone, then patting his good friend on the back and said, "I'm just kidding. I know you're good for it. I'll for it pay when I'm done, okay?" "Thanks. I know you always take care of me," Robert said with a smile. The boys slapped hands and turned separate ways, as they always did. Robert was the oldest boy in his family, and now starting to learn how to take over the family farm. Their farm is the biggest one in the village. They had lots of workers, and they had a lot of money and power in the little village. Okay, and that was it. That's all it's gonna be for today. I'll put it out. I thought I was just gonna put out 2 videos of this. It's pretty long. And I don't want these videos up to stretch out for days, so it's just gonna make them smaller. That's what I'm gonna end up doing. I'm gonna end up putting up 3 videos on the course up till Halloween being the last one. Hope you all enjoyed. Likes and favorites and whatever, all that good stuff. Uh, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye bye.